Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Financial Survival Network is presented to you by Regal Assets. Buy and sell physical gold and silver through your existing retirement plan, 100% tax-free with Regal Assets. If you want to include physical gold or silver in your existing IRA or old 401k, request your free investment kit, which was recently featured in the Forbes and Smart Money Wall Street Journal magazines. Call toll-free 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620, or visit regalassets.com. People often wonder, with QE to infinity, with all the other governments in the world stimulating their economies, what is that going to do for inflation, and how best do you invest in a portfolio to protect your wealth against this inevitability? Jeb Handwerger, he's been examining this conundrum for quite some time. He's got some really good concepts and dealing with it with us now. Jeb, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Kerry? It's great to be back on your show.
And great to have you back, too. So your feeling is you need to diversify into a portfolio of different metals, not just gold and silver. Is that correct?
Yes, I definitely think that's the case, Kerry. During deflationary times and economic slowdown, some metals begin outperform other metals. But when we have an inflationary cycle, and where the economy is being picked up and manipulated higher, with which we've seen with this QE to infinity, there's going to be certain metals that have been underperforming gold that will probably, according to historical norms, be outperforming gold and could possibly make exponential gains. So we believe that it's very important to diversify across the metals complex. It's not enough just to have gold in your portfolio. You should be looking at silver. You should be looking at platinum now, especially with what we're seeing coming out of South Africa, where over 75% of platinum production is supplied from South Africa. We're seeing violent protests. We don't see any stop of that right now. It's continuing. This is going to have dramatic impact on platinum. Uranium prices are near record lows. Are below $50. I mean, this is at a time where China and India are building these new modern reactors at a rapid pace. We're seeing that there's people believing, investors are beginning to believe that China, after the new leaders are appointed after November 8th, that they're going to announce a massive infrastructure and stimulus program. This has definitely recently impacted the iron ore prices. So industrial metals are also important, such as copper and ferroalloys, for investors to look into. And one of the ways to look into that is by looking at some of the mining equities and some of the making sure that you have a broad diversification of not only gold, but silver and platinum as well.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying basically is higher commodity prices across the board, especially when you're looking at the metals, and I assume rare earths are part of that equation as well.
Right. Rare earths is a very interesting situation, especially the critical heavy rare earths, where it's completely controlled by the Chinese. This is a very volatile market. We have just seen the U.S. Department of Defense make a move to develop U.S. rare earth independence by partnering with a junior mining company, a rare earth junior mining company, to develop their metallurgy and the processing. That is, the supply-demand fundamentals are explosive there and could significantly move the prices higher. We're seeing some diplomatic tensions in the South China Seas with China and Japan, concerns with Korea for getting their rare earth supplies. This is what we saw similar to the summer of 2010, before all these rare earth miners soared, and what we saw that bubble like situation in 2010. We're beginning to see that again, but it's a little bit different, where not all of the miners are running. Specific ones that have strategic partnerships with either a government entity or a offtake partner are going to have a major advantage moving ahead.
Interesting, really interesting. So effectively, what you're saying is you need to broaden your horizon, because there's a lot of other ways to make money here and to protect your wealth and to stay at least even with inflation or even ahead of inflation.
Right. Like, let's take platinum, for instance. Let's look at platinum. Platinum before the credit crisis was almost more than double the price of gold. And since the credit crisis, gold is up 70-80% from the pre-credit crisis highs, whereas platinum is still 20% below those highs. And in an inflationary scenario, where we're seeing possibly gut-wrenching hyperinflation, and we see the economy pick up, platinum could be double the price of gold. And that's a significant move. And we're also seeing some really supply concerns coming out of South Africa. And so platinum in an inflationary scenario could significantly outpace gold and possibly silver.
Interesting. So effectively what you're saying is don't limit yourself just to gold and silver. Branch out, because platinum has tremendous upside. I mean, I looked at it when it was $13.93, said it's got to go up from here, and it had a nice run up, and then it just couldn't get past gold this time out. But you're thinking that it's going to pass gold and be substantially higher priced.
Right. Well, we have to remember why platinum was hit so hard during this credit crisis was that the automobile companies, this GM, they were going bankrupt. People thought the auto industry was coming to an end. The reality is that GM just came out with news that they're selling more cars and trucks in China this past year than in the United States for the first time ever in its 100-plus year history.
Wow.
There's a significant fundamental shift occurring right now in demand coming from this rising middle class in China. And we believe that this trend is going to continue over the next couple of decades. And this will need increasing supplies of platinum, which is used in the catalytic converters to reduce the toxic emissions from these automobiles. And again, we're seeing just a supply issue from South Africa, where over 75% is coming from a country that is in the midst of labor turmoil.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to have to start thinking of something else besides platinum and catalytic converters. But for the past 40 years, for whatever reason, that's what was chosen to clean up the tailpipe exhaust of cars, platinum and palladium pretty much. And I mean, I remember when platinum got really high priced, they were even stealing catalytic converters out of cars.
Right. I actually know some people that make a living from recycling catalytic converters, but really the public, the mainstream, is still viewing platinum as just an industrial metal. They're just valuing it as an industrial metal, disregarding the fact that platinum has a history of being used as a store of value for money, as an alternative to money. Platinum's 30 times rarer than gold.
Right.
Yet right now it's trading $100 cheaper than gold. So if we see a good improving economics, possibly with inflation, we could see platinum reach even, it's usually been priced historically double the price of gold.
Interesting. Yeah, so it seems to have a lot more upside potential, or even if it's not more upside potential, the potential for much more dramatic moves upward, I guess, is really what it is.
Yeah, platinum's inflation adjusted high is around $3,000. So, and it's trading $100 cheaper than gold right now. So that's to to keep pace with gold and silver. Even if gold and silver just stayed flat, platinum could possibly double from these levels just to keep historic pace with gold and silver.
Amazing that all these metals, have really important industrial uses, that we've made them the cornerstone of our green initiatives, before we call them that, anti-pollution initiatives. And now supply comes from a very unreliable part of the world, becoming more unreliable by the moment. And what are we supposed to do here?
Yeah, and what's interesting, why platinum and rare earths and some of these metals have not gotten as much press is because they're not as liquid as gold and silver. So the major hedge funds and the large banks that are constantly trading gold and silver, they're not involved with the platinum market. They're not involved with some of these other metals. So the public and the mainstream are unaware of these supply-demand fundamentals. And then once they begin to see, what's going on in South Africa, what's going on in China with the rare earths, once they begin to see this and they enter this arena, there could be explosive exponential gains.
Yeah. So it sounds like everybody needs to broaden their horizon and start looking at these lesser known metals, because there's huge potential going on there, huge potential demand, and obviously not enough of them. So Jeb, people want to find out more about you, go to your site. Where should they go?
Goldstocktrades.com. GOLD stock STOCK trades TRADES.com. Please sign up for my free newsletter. We also have a free 30-day trial for our premium service. And we will also be presenting a workshop, if you have any listeners in the San Francisco area, at the San Francisco Hard Assets Conference on Friday, November 16th from 10 to 10:30 at the San Francisco Marriott Marquis.
Sounds really great. And I know we have many of you out there in California. You're hopefully going to go out to the Hard Assets Conference. We're going to try to be there. Not sure yet if we're going to be able to, but if you are there, look up Jeb. His workshops are really powerful, and it can really help you to recognize and invest in a lot of different emerging opportunities before the general market has discovered them and brought the prices up. Jeb, we will talk to you again soon. Always a pleasure. You be well.
Thank you, Kerry.